When you think about cybersecurity, you probably picture a battle of machines, right? Hackers versus firewalls. But the real front line, the most critical defense we have, is actually human. Today, we're going to dive into a hidden battle, a crisis that's happening right now, alert fatigue, and what it's doing to the people trying to guard our digital world. It all starts with just one single missed alert. That's it. Take the infamous Target data breach. This is exactly what happened. They had this state-of-the-art security system, and a critical warning popped up, but it was just completely drowned out in a sea of other notifications. And the result? A catastrophic failure with just massive, massive consequences. And that really makes you wonder, right? With all the billions of dollars invested in threat detection, how on earth do these highly trained expert analysts miss the one warning that signals total disaster? Well, the answer isn't a failure of technology. It's actually a vulnerability of the human mind. At the heart of it, the problem is something that people in cybersecurity know all too well: the sheer, overwhelming volume of digital noise. It's like trying to hear a whisper in the middle of a rock concert. It's just this constant, relentless flood of information that analysts are somehow expected to navigate perfectly every single day. Okay, check out this number because it really shows you the staggering scale of the problem. Some research shows that up to 90%, that's 90, of all security alerts an analyst gets are false positives. Now, just imagine if 9 out of every 10 emergency alerts on your phone were a mistake. How long would it take before you just started tuning them out? And here's the fallout. Studies confirm that a full one-third of IT professionals admit they ignore security alerts simply because there are too many. And look, this isn't about them being negligent. It's a totally natural human response to being completely and utterly swamped. This whole phenomenon actually has a name: alert fatigue. It's basically a state of desensitization, of mental exhaustion. When you're hit with a constant stream of alarms that don't mean anything, your brain's ability to spot the real signal in all that noise starts to break down. You become less and less likely to respond to the one alert that actually matters. But what is actually going on inside an analyst's brain when this is happening? Well, some fascinating new research has come up with a theory that gives us a window into this struggle. They call it the mindful balancing act. So, to get this theory, we have to look at two different ways our brains can operate. First, there's the mindful state. Think of this as being in full-on detective mode. You're actively aware, you're open to new info, and you're questioning everything. This is where the real deep analysis happens. And then you have the mindless state. This is more like being on autopilot. You're just relying on past experiences, making quick judgments, and not really digging deeper. And this, right here, is the absolute key to the entire problem. Mindfulness is not an infinite well you can just keep drawing from. It's a finite resource. It's like a mental battery. And every complex decision, every deep analysis you do, it drains that battery. And when it gets depleted, your brain doesn't just shut down. No, it defaults to that much more energy-efficient state of mindlessness. You can really see how this plays out. A security operations center, it starts in that crucial, mindful state. But that constant, grinding pressure of alert fatigue, it just acts as a drain, and it pushes that analyst over to that mindless automatic state. Now, they're still processing alerts, sure, but they're on autopilot. And that is exactly when the really critical threats slip right through the cracks. Okay, so if we know the problem is a drain on this finite mental resource, how do we fight back? Well, the research points to a two-pronged counterattack, one that focuses on both the human side and the technical side of the equation. First up, let's talk about the people, the human element. The strategies here are all about preserving that precious cognitive energy. This means doing things like rotating the intense job of monitoring alarms so no one person is just getting burned out. It means taking a hard look at shift lengths, especially those grueling night shifts that we know ramp up fatigue. And it can even mean using tools like personality assessments to build teams that are naturally more resilient to this kind of pressure. Then you've got the tech side of things. The goal here is basically to reduce the noise. This means constantly, carefully tuning your alarm systems to weed out all those false positives. It means building systems that can automatically suppress the known noisy alerts that just add no value. And this is a big one. It's about enriching the alerts that do come through with more context, making them way easier and faster for a mindful analyst to investigate and validate. But it's not as simple as just flipping a few switches. As one analyst from the study put it, it's a delicate tightrope walk. You can tune your systems to get rid of the false positives, but if you're not careful, you risk silencing that true positive, the one critical alert you absolutely cannot afford to miss. It's this constant, high-stakes balancing act.
So, what does all this mean for the future of cybersecurity? Well, it means we need to totally reframe how we think about our defenses. It's not just about building bigger digital walls and louder alarm bells. It's about protecting the person who's listening for that bell.
And at the end of the day, this is the main takeaway. The most sophisticated, most expensive technology in the world is completely useless if the human analyst is too exhausted to see the truth. Because the strongest, most adaptable firewall we will ever have is the human mind. And that leaves us with one final, really important question to think about. If we accept that mindfulness, that finite pool of cognitive energy, is the single most precious and vulnerable resource in the entire cybersecurity world, then what more should we be doing to protect it?